Can I call you Rose? 'Cause you're sweet like a flower in bloom. Can I call you Rose?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatema Abbasi and welcome to yet another episode of Karak Scene, Karak Chai with Karak Baatein. Today we are at a very sweet spot where every bite tells a story and every cake is a masterpiece. So let's welcome the genius behind Melting Moments, Fatema.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Fatema, let's settle in, have our Karak cup of tea,
Definitely.
and let's savor the magic of extraordinary creations together. Ma, what does your husband describe you as?
So, passionate, detail-oriented, experimental, and messy. He says I'm OCD and messy at the same time.
Fatima, let's dive into business. So, initially, you started your career as an interior designer, right? So, what prompted a shift to becoming a cake artist?
So, to be honest, after I graduated, I was looking for jobs, and I was going through interviews and all, and that's the time I realized I'm like a 9-to-5 job is not my thing. Like I think I went for a job for probably like a week, and I'm like, this is not my cup of tea. And that's when I realized like I wanted to pursue something that I was a bit more passionate about, and I've been baking for a very long time, and because the whole time when I was actually giving my interviews a couple of months, I used to do a lot of baking, experiment with flavors, recipes at home and all. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. And that's when I actually pursued culinary arts and trained to become a professional pastry chef.
Tell us how your previous profession influenced your current passion.
So I never really worked in the field for long, except for a couple of like internships. But whatever I learned in university over the years highly influences what I do. Things like color palettes, like decor placement, management, a lot of other stuff, color schemes. All of this actually like really like I use all that knowledge in my cake making now. So basically, instead of a paper, my canvas is a blank cake basically now.
Of course, Fatima, we can see how your passion portrays on your social media. So I want to know that were there any aha moments or any specific recipes that sparked your passion for confectionery and baking?
Okay, I have a very cute story for that actually.
Yes, would love to know.
So, I started baking. My first time I think when I baked was around 11, 12 years, and I baked it with my father. And we were baking those box brownies, those Betty Crocker brownies and all. We were baking that, and unfortunately, they were burnt to the crisp actually.
Okay.
But it was that point I was like, no, I need to master the recipe of brownies, like I need to work more on that. And I did. Eventually, I did master my own recipe for brownies and all, and I've been working, like, throughout these years, everyone, back then and even now, people know me by my brownies first, actually, no matter what. Like, even though my business name is Melting Moments Cakes, but, oh, you're the brownie lady. Like, that's what, people know me for.
So the brownies are responsible for these amazing cakes that are coming. Fatima, baking is one thing, but the art of designing cakes, playing with sugar dough, mastering in confectionaries is not an easy job, right? Did you learn all this by yourself, or did you enroll yourself in any courses?
So I actually, like I mentioned earlier, I've been baking since I was 12. So I knew a lot, like I had quite good enough knowledge of baking. But when I joined my culinary arts, ICCA, I did it to sharpen my skills and to learn, to basically broaden up my knowledge of other creations that I wasn't aware of earlier. Where it comes to cake decorating and everything, that was all me. That I've learned on my own via either social media. There's so much knowledge on the net at the moment. So social media, YouTube. And also from time to time, I do take small courses and classes from other people.
Keeping yourself updated.
Exactly. Keep updating my skills, so that helps me a lot, And
tell us about ICCA, the course that you took.
So basically, when I joined ICCA...
that was right after you completed your education?
Yes. So it's, I think, 6 months after I graduated.
Okay.
And so when I joined there, I actually joined with the intention that I wanted to work in a bakery.
Okay.
And so that's why I did the whole professional course.
How long was it?
So it was 3-month intense course, basically.
Okay.
But that was like literally like 6 in the morning till like 8 in the night.
Wow. So what did you learn in that course?
So we did things like, so you get this option like the first 2 months or 1.5 months you work with with like appetizers, salad, soups, the normal general stuff and all. And the last month you can either specialize in pastry or in hot kitchen, which obviously I did pastry for sure. So a lot of things that I've learned there. But the thing is, it's been almost 10 years since I've studied over there. And what I studied there, and now the trends have changed so much over the years. I mean, I don't use a lot of that knowledge anymore because it's kind of outgrown. Like people are over it, So that's the whole thing. Like every year, every few months, you need to keep upgrading yourself also,
That's
to
true.
keep up with the current trends.
Yes. Talking about food-related trends, can you share with us any food-related trend that you predict will be the most popular thing in future?
So in my personal opinion, I don't believe any trend as such will become very famous as such. But what I feel is the fact, the trend of people wanting to eat clean now is definitely going to become, like, it's already picking up, and I feel in the future it's what people will want. At least it'll be like at the moment maybe it's like 20%, 25% of the crowd, but eventually it'll probably become like 60, 70% and all, like the fact that people want gluten-free stuff, sugar-free, eggless, all that kind of stuff, that's what I feel is going to actually become like blow up eventually.
So how do you plan to cope up with this trend?
Like again, obviously we get a lot of inquiries and stuff. So like as we have to stay in power of the trend and all, so even we have a couple of things lined up in the pipeline, like we do a lot of recipe testing, experimenting and all, trying to get the perfect, because I feel if you need something sugar free, it should be as good as my sugar dessert, my proper dessert.
Fatima, I have been following you on Instagram since very long. You started your journey as a home baker, right?
Yeah.
And so tell us, what were the initial investments? How did you get your first order? And what about delivery?
10 years back, I started immediately after I finished studying in ICCA.
Okay.
And obviously, initially, it's always your friends and family. So I used to bake a lot for friends and family and all. And because of that, because of word of mouth, I got my first order. And obviously, the whole excitement, like, oh, I'm starting new, everything. And I'm very particular about, like, I need to have everything organized and, I need to have everything that is required. So I did go all out. I only got my first order, like, via word of mouth, actually, And surprisingly, it wasn't someone known. It was someone really, like, someone new. So it felt like a proper order. And at that time, so obviously, because it was the initial start, I used to actually deliver myself. But obviously, over the years, you realize it's not, especially in Dubai's weather, you cannot do it on your own. Like, it's not feasible, like, especially for long distances and all. So we definitely use delivery companies. All our orders now go in chiller vans.
Fatima, so before we dive into more bakery-related questions, I have a whimsical question.
All right.
If you could eat a meal for the rest of your life, what would it be and who will cook it for you?
Okay, so it has to be my mom's vanilla gosh.
Wow.
I'm not eating that's something that whenever now I go back to my house and if I'm there for a couple of days, that's the only thing I will ask her. Like, I'll ask her, like, this one thing you have to make. Very weirdly, that was literally the last thing I ate before I went to labor also.
Really? That's so cool.
So it definitely has to be that. Like,
vanilla gosh.
I know that's a lot of gosh, but the way my mom makes it is just like too good.
Can I please try as well?
Definitely. I'm going to call you over one day.
Inshallah. Now tell us, when did you think that you are ready to have your own cake studio?
So when I was working at my in-laws' place, it came to a point, alhamdulillah, business also was growing. I was working out of a small room in my house, and it came to a point where I didn't have space. Because I didn't have space, like, I couldn't take in more orders that I wanted. My work was flowing into every other room. And that's when my dad, my father, he pushed me. Like, I think it's about time that you need to become commercial, and you've been doing it from home for quite a while, but I think now you need to. I think it's about time. And that's when we decided to open a cake studio, which obviously gave me more space to work in, but it also opened up a lot of work opportunities, So that always, definitely it's been a big step,
Fatima, share with us now a funny kitchen mishap or accident while baking.
Okay, so for some reason it always involves my family members. So this is when I was engaged, my husband.
Okay.
And it was his birthday and I wanted to bake a cake for him. And so I'm baking this later in the night after a whole day of work, so I'm a little tired also. And I put the cakes for baking and I'm like, okay, let me just catch up, like an episode of Friends, and then I'll like, and then I'll go back to the kitchen, it should be baked by then. It literally took me 6 episodes of Friends to realize that I forgot about the cakes in the oven.
God.
Don't ask. I mean, and the thing is, everyone else was in their own rooms, the doors were closed, and even my door was closed, so I didn't really smell it, that it wasn't that strong, and it literally, I mean, 6 hours are like almost 2.5, 3 hours, yeah, so that clearly really burned.
What was the condition of the cake?
I could not remove the cake from, like, I think I had to let go of 2 of my tins because I couldn't remove it from the tin.
Yeah, do you have any picture? I would love to see that.
I should have, but it was at that point where I did not really record, things that I would do. But, like, it took me, like, it was like, it's now that I record and, use everything as content, but I wish I had a picture,
So did you manage to bake another cake for him then?
Yes, definitely. Even though I baked it like probably 11, 12 in the night, but I did, I make sure he knows about it.
Great. So Fatema, let's discuss about setting up your bakery.
Okay.
We'll take it one by one. Let's talk about location first. How did you come up with the location?
So we will look quite a bit around, our like my building and all, and eventually we finally, it took us at least 3 months.
Okay.
But yeah, the very first place that we actually did choose got rejected because apparently it was too small.
Right.
But then it took us around 2.5 months, and finally, eventually, we found the perfect place.
Okay, that's great. Chato, let's talk about the government procedures. So now you have your location. What was the next step?
After that, so for that, actually, first, even after getting the space, you need to get the space approved. Like I said earlier, like my initial space got rejected because it was too small. Like there needs to be there's a minimum requirement for the reception, minimum requirement for the kitchen part and all. That needs to be approved. Once that's approved, then you can apply for your trade license. After the trade license, there are so many approvals that you require for like safety, fire safety, other stuff, like the placement, like things like where your wash stations to go, where your sink goes, if you have a washroom within the premises, how and where it's located, all these things. There's so many minute things that people don't know or realize. And so it was obviously the first commercial place to set up, so it was a learning curve for us also. Again, a lot of back and forth that happened, and but eventually we got there,
Right. And sorry, yeah, but what I was asking you that what about staff, hiring the staff?
So staff also, like initially I decided while I was working at home, it was just me. Like that's also another thing why we wanted to get a place, because I wanted to get more people on my team, because it was getting to a point where I was not even giving myself like a weekend free. Like I was working on weekends, I was working on public holidays, Eid, any kind of holidays, whatever it was. I would not, probably like, on Eid, I would probably have like 2-3 hours with my family or half a day with my family, and then I would go back to work, and it was getting a lot of, it was getting onto my physical health, mental health, so definitely that helped in hiring. And obviously I was looking for someone, who had at least basic knowledge of, baking, and the rest was supposed I was going to I would like to train them, because again, like every baker has their own style, and I prefer that I actually am able to train them from scratch, which makes them easier to they catch on to things faster.
Right. So how many helpers do you have right now in the kitchen?
So at the moment my team consists of 2 people.
2 people. Okay.
So, and maybe inshallah, over the years.
Inshallah, yes. Fatema, you are an interior designer by yourself, right? So how much did you enjoy setting up this space?
I think I was more excited about that than the actual kitchen part. So obviously I was very excited, and my husband's an interior designer too, so he's the one who actually designed my space.
Oh wow.
And I gave him just a mood board, pointers that I want this color palette and this kind of vibe, and I kind of left it on him. Even though from time to time, because he's my husband, I kept pointing out no, I think we can go with this, we can go with that. But I think it was like a team effort, and we both were equally excited, because he was excited because it was for me, and I could finally, get my space, the vibe that, that I want to, because I also designed my space in a way that I can shoot stuff, maybe content or something, and, when my clients come for meetings and all, I want it to be a nice, comfortable space, and see now, I could actually host
beautiful.
I could host a podcast actually.
Yes, of course. And we're loving this space. Fatema, your packaging is beautiful. How do you come up with these beautiful packaging ideas? And also, do you customize for specific occasions?
So I've always had this thought process that if I'm giving something to somebody, I would like to give it in the way that I would like to receive it. Like I am a sucker for pretty packaging, the ribbons, the personalized card, cute stickers, like the florals or anything, like I love, someone gives me even like the smallest thing and something that was packaged properly, like I'd be sold, like, so I do the same thing for everybody else because I know everyone loves, no matter what anyone says, everyone loves getting gifts,
Yes.
So all these little small bits adds on to that whole the whole experience of eating my desserts, and it's a whole experience. Like
I have seen a lot of your reels where you are packaging these cute brownie boxes,
Yes.
cookies, and all. Important question: how did you come up with the name Melting Moments?
So it took me almost a month when I was thinking of what to name my business. I had a whole list, like a lot of back and forth, and it took me a whole month to actually come up with this. So initially, I actually had finalized on something else, and then the very last day, right before I came up with it, and I was like, I didn't feel my initial name, and then when I thought of Melting Moments, that vibe that it gave me was that I want people to remember that moment that they enjoyed, something that I baked for them, like it's something like, because I know a lot of, especially again, revolving around my brownies, my initial product, they are melt in the mouth.
So your followers have been growing constantly. What strategies do you apply to engage them and maintain the followers?
So to be honest, that's one of the hardest part of this business is to actually take care of my social media, my Instagram account, because majority of my business does come from online social media platform. And one thing I've realized is over the years, you need to keep your audience coming back for more. So you cannot, like, I need to keep putting up different kind of content, like now. And again, there's even within Instagram, there's so many different trends that keep coming back and forth and all.
Right.
Like recently, like nowadays, reels are really, really in. Like, I mean,
Yes.
there was a time where posts were doing well, but now it's like, okay, just to build a portfolio.
And TikTok.
Exactly, yeah. I tried on TikTok, but I haven't gotten the hang of it, but it's okay. Like, I'm still like, my Instagram's my baby, And like, so the things like, like good photography, the way you record, doing trending reels, like recently I've been doing a lot of ASMR videos and all on
Okay.
Reels, and people are loving it. So things that actually, and also a lot of the time I've realized people like to see the behind the scenes. Like, people see the finished cake, but people want to see how it's made behind the scene. Like, anything that's gone wrong, any funny moments. So all these little bits. And also people want to know the person behind the business, like they want to know you.
I have a game for you.
Okay.
So tell me, what comes to your mind when I say struggle?
Content creation.
Okay. Parents.
Support.
Rejection.
Hard clients.
Fear.
Of never getting an order. Maybe. I mean, I know it's very hard, but like eventually, maybe you never want to reach that point, But Alhamdulillah, everything's going great. But that is always the end fear at the back of the head,
Cold.
Sorry?
Cold.
Ice cream.
Great. They were great answers. Tell me your favorite holiday destination.
Greece. Anything that actually, even though I've not been to Greece yet, but I would like to, because anything with water, nice and serene, I love that.
Great. I wish you go there very soon. Inshallah. Fatema, I understand how hard you must have worked to reach the place where you are right now. Being in the industry for such a long time, what would your advice be for those ladies who want to start their new venture in this industry?
I think just do it, I mean, no matter whose support you're able to get, whether it be your husband, your parents, your in-laws, whoever support, like even if you get one person, your sister, I mean your best friend, anyone, whoever support, that one person support also, if you're getting, just do it. Like, we all, especially women, we feel like, how will we manage, how will we do this, how will we, balance work life, I mean, I think I am an example. I feel like now, being a recent mother of still a baby, basically, I mean, if I'm able to, obviously, and if I'm able to actually work also, take care of my child, obviously this is because of my support of my family, you know, my in-laws, my parents, my husband, everybody. It's a teamwork. But if I'm able to do it, I don't know what's stopping you.
So as we draw curtains on this enchanting journey through the world of baking with Fatima, it is very clear that her passion for baking confectionery has no bounds. Fatima, you are a superstar. Thank you so much
sweet
for coming to our show.
That is so sweet. And like I said before, it was an honor. And thank you for having me on your show.
So if you like today's episode, please like, share and subscribe. And please follow Melting Moments and Karak Scene on Instagram. Keep sipping, keep chatting and always take care of yourself. This is me, Fatema Ali Safri, signing off. Ma salama.